Hi, welcome to the Comer Cooking Channel. I'm Chef Gina, and today we're going to be making cinnamon rolls. So we will begin to bloom our yeast. I'm going to start with a cup of warm milk. And maybe a tablespoon of fast-acting yeast. With the yeast being fast-acting, that means that this blooming process is going to be pretty quick. So I will add a little flour to that just to further bloom that yeast. I'm starting with a quarter cup of sugar. I'm going to add some melted butter. This is a rich dough. And then I'm going to add my 2 eggs. I have 1 whole egg and 1 yolk. Next, we're going to add 3 cups of flour. And to my flour, I'm going to add maybe a teaspoon or half a teaspoon of salt. Before I incorporate my flour, I'm going to give that a stir and let it get incorporated. So I'm going to mix it until it comes together. And if you find that your dough is dry, you can add a little bit more milk. I have all of my ingredients in my dough. I'm going to take it out of the bowl. And I'm about to start the kneading process. The kneading process is bringing that dough together. It's also waking up that gluten. That's going to give me some stretch. I see that my table is a little sticky, so I'm going to add a little bit of flour, and I'm going to add some flour to my hands. I'm going to do this kneading process for about 30 times. You don't have to count it, just as long as you feel your dough softening up. And you can also take this opportunity to clean your table. Now that our dough has come together, since we use fast-acting yeast, we can bypass that set and rise process. We're going to get that rise when it goes in the oven. Now we are ready to roll out our dough. We're going to start with a small amount of flour because we don't want our cinnamon rolls to stick to the table. Using a rolling pin, we want to get some flour on that as well, and we're just going to roll it out. I'm turning it so I can get a even size on all sides. And for those of you that don't have a rolling pin at home, we use a method called walk it out. So I'm going to take that dough and I'm going to walk it out with my hands. I'm going to always turn it so it can be even. I can even flatten this dough with my hands. Make sure your dough is not sticking to your table, and this is a very important technique. You're going to put your hands closed, and I am going to slowly open my hands to create some more surface, and that's if you don't have a rolling pin. You control your dough. If it's turning into a circle, I can manipulate this dough to begin to be in a more square shape. Using my hands, I can close and I can open. I can close and I can open. You can pull this dough, it's pretty soft. So this is your dough, work with your dough. And if you find that your dough is not stretching enough, because we are stretching it as we go along, let it rest. And once you come back to it, it's gonna have a little bit more give. So now I will spread butter on the dough. Now that we have spread our butter onto our dough, we will begin with our filling. Now, filling is just brown sugar and butter, melted butter. We're gonna get that all melted. We're gonna spread it onto our dough. So we're gonna have a generous amount of this sugar and butter. We're gonna spread it until we have all of our edges covered and our filling is ready to go. I can leave it like this. We're going to add some cinnamon all over the dough. And I could leave it regular as is, but we are going to always think about how we can level up our recipes. And to this recipe, I am going to actually do 2 types of cinnamon rolls. So I'm going to do an imaginary line down the center, and on one side will be raisins. It could be whatever you like. If you don't like raisins, don't use raisins, but you can use pecans. You can have some marshmallows and some grams, and it can be a s'more cinnamon roll. And from here, I am just going to begin to roll. So we're going to start at the end. We want to tuck this so it can be tight. Make sure your surface is floured so we can get these cinnamon rolls off the table. And just roll. When I begin to cut these, I will use my imaginary line so I can have my raisins separate from my regular. You want to keep this even. We're going to roll all the way to the end, and we're going to leave that seam on the bottom. I'm going to use my imaginary line for that middle, and now I'm going to begin to cut these cinnamon rolls. I can use a ruler or whatever you need to use to make them uniform, but I'm just going to eyeball it. So I'm going to say my center is there, and then I'm just going to make some slits, keeping in mind that I want these to be uniform. And then I'm going to go for my regular side. It would be best if we use a serrated knife, but these are gonna cook and puff up in the oven, so any knife will work. As long as I'm not pressing down, these will stay, that will continue to have my height. And there you have it. So these are ready to go in our pan. These are my regular cinnamon rolls, and then we will cut the ones with our raisins. We are going to put on our raisin cinnamon rolls. If you notice, I'm leaving a little space because we don't have to cook these right away. We can let them proof a little bit on a counter to get a little bit bigger, but they will continue to proof in the oven. And I've separated the two because in the event that, say, I had a ingredient that someone was allergic to, like nuts, I would want to cook those all the way separate, or peanuts or things like that. You should keep them all the way separate on their own. Now we will start with our cream cheese frosting. It's simply some softened cream cheese. Just leave it out. With the back of the spoon, I'm just spreading it so it can be a little bit more smooth. And when it is at the consistency, next I am going to add the juice of half a lemon. I like to add lemon because it freshens up this frosting and gives it a nice zing. Put your hand under your lemon just to catch those seeds. I'm just going to give this a stir to get it mixed up, and then I will add just a little vanilla. I like the flavor of vanilla. It's going to brighten this frosting up. Maybe half a teaspoon, not a lot. And I'm going to get that all mixed up. To this mixture, I'm going to add my powdered sugar. To ensure that we're not going to get many lumps, because you could still get some lumps, I'm going to take it into a sifter and just sift that. If you do it on a piece of parchment, it's no mess. I'm not messing up my table. And it's easier to transfer into my bowl. I'm going to pick that parchment up and go straight into my bowl. And so make this icing your own. If you have some oranges, juice the orange, and you can add this. Can be a orange cream cheese frosting. I am just using the back of my spoon to get that all incorporated. Now I'm going to change to my rubber spatula. I can leave this as is, but I am going to add just a little drop of milk. And mix it until it comes together. Now this icing is ready for our cinnamon rolls. And after 12 minutes, our cinnamon rolls are ready. They're golden and delicious. So now we're gonna plate them up. When they're warm enough to handle, you can get them put on your platter. And now we will add our frosting. We're gonna slather this frosting on. We're doing it now. They're still warm, but that will still moisten them a little bit. You want to give a generous amount of frosting on each. As much or as little as you like. These are warm, so the frosting will begin to drip down the sides. And there you have it. Our cinnamon rolls. Remember to make these cinnamon rolls your own. Add whatever ingredients you like and enjoy. Okay, so thanks for watching. If you make this recipe or any other recipes featured on our Comer Cooking channel, please tag us at Comer Cooking on Facebook and Instagram. And remember to like, share, and subscribe to this video. To the next video.